It was at community-based theatre that I found myself working with common law storytellers and musicians. And that was when I first encountered the nature of, or the idea of, storytelling. And then 6 months after working with them, I get a phone call from you saying, would I do my first ever storytelling festival? And I remember saying no, because I thought, well, what am I going to do there? And then you said, I'll pay you 60 quid. And I was like, I'm in, because I'm broke. So that's how I ended up doing that second International Storytelling Festival at Waterman's Art Centre. And the rest, as they say, is literally history. And you know, at the end of that gig, you coming up to me and pushing that book into my hand was such a momentous moment. I don't know if you realise it, because up until that point I was just doing it. But it was like you were the first person to go, no, you have to do it. And from then on, I just did. Until that point, I didn't know that I was a storyteller. I knew that I could hold my own on stage against anyone. I knew I could do that. I wasn't afraid of being on stage. I knew that I was a natural performer, but I didn't really, you know, there's people now, I reckon, who would come into storytelling from a very clear point of ambition. I didn't have one, you know, so I feel very blessed that I'm where I am now as a storyteller, that I'm an internationally recognised storyteller, etc., etc. But the hunger and the drive that I kind of see now from other storytellers, I don't think I had it then at all. When I was living in London, I was a very angry Pan-Africanist, but I couldn't live with the rage. In 1986 was the year I started storytelling. I went to Jamaica. After 3 months of being a storyteller, I went to Jamaica with my mum. And when I got to Jamaica and realised that this rage wasn't around me, do you know what I mean? Everyone was just getting on with life. And I was like, I think I've been sold a pig in a poke here. And that was salvation for me. So when I came back deciding, you know what? If I dig deep into more of this, I can save myself from this rage, and I can start to disentangle these threads that racism kind of tries to keep you locked in. As a black storyteller in a predominantly white storytelling world, I'm happy to be challenging, choosing particularly challenging types of stories to tell, because I just don't care anymore. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I have to do what I have to do. I have to say what I have to say, but I'm going to do it in a joyful way through story. I would say the strongest link, apart from my son, between me and my mum, was that I would be fascinated. Like when Jamaican women used to come around when I was a kid, and I just used to sit and just listen to them all talking about life back in Jamaica. But it took me a long time to realise how important it was, that kind of family sustenance. There's one story that my mum told me, which is the talking pussy, that someone actually contacted me the other day and said, could I remind them of how it went, because they wanted to tell it. And I was like, nah, not that one. That one's protected. Do you know what I mean? That's because it's a measure of the relationship between myself and my mum. You know, two women who could just sit together and just laugh uproariously. And she told me once this thing she said when she was a little girl, how her and my Aunt Min, they were like that. She said they used to sit and watch the goats. When the male goats, the rams, used to cover the nannies when they were having sex, and she said they used to, what the ram goats used to go to the nanny goats and say it was gal, where your mother gone? And the nanny goat would say, gone a market, sir. Where your papa gone a grung, sir. Turn your back to give me. And she used to delight in sharing stuff like that with me. I think she knew it would end up somewhere in a show or in a story. I think I was a lot like my mum. I think in terms of, in her family, she was the different one. And I think it's the same in this family, I'm the different one. My mum used to say all the time when I was a kid, stop gears. We were walking down the street, stop gears, because I was always watching what people were doing or observing people's interactions with each other. Or she'd say, "You're too noisy, stop, look." But I think as a child, I always observed people. And I also believe that we're all as capable as anyone else of being the way that people are in stories. I think that if you're a people person and a storyteller, you can become an expert in people. I was in Estonia for a few years back, and this guy came up to me at the end and went, "Yeah, why your story so moralistic?" And I said, "My stories aren't moralistic. I'm not moralistic. Your filter is moralistic, and that's all you can hear." So I don't judge anyone in my stories. I don't judge what any characters do, because as far as I'm concerned, in the moment that you say once upon a time, you're saying, "I get it. I get it. We can be nice, we can be bad, we can be shit, we can be fearful, we can be..." All the full spectrum of human experience can be covered in the next 30 minutes of this story. I basically bring the story as an opportunity for people to reflect upon themselves. It's not for me to do the reflecting. It's for me to say, look how wonderful or foolish or special or misguided or lost or afraid or haunted or full of love we human beings are. Look at the potential of what it means to be human is contained in this nugget of a story. Look at it. You can eat it, you can throw it up, you can crush it underfoot, you can do what you like with it, but I understand the richness of what it means to be human, and so I'll hold you in that moment when I tell the story. If you're a storyteller, it's not just about the entertainment or the job or the story. It's like you actually are touching people's lives. It's real. You know, you don't know what you've done when you've told a story. You just don't, or if you don't know, you should get to know, so that people can feel safe when they're in your presence. Not just safe to be in your presence, but safe to go off afterwards and really say, you know, I can change my life. It's going to be okay. And if you're conscious of your impact in that respect, then you've got to be responsible, I think. But at the end of the day, you can't deny the impact. The problem is, unfortunately, is that the impact can be so overwhelming to some people that they start to attach that moment with you, not with their own self or their own life or their own awakening. Because I'm not a healer in that conscious sense. I'm not a psychologist in a conscious sense. But stories are medicine, as we know. And once you take the medicine, but you can't go and live with your doctor because the medicine cured you. Do you know what I mean? So I went to a comprehensive school, Wally Range High School for girls, head girl. There was no storytelling. I mean, there was no reflection on stories or storytelling. I mean, I did some school plays. Everybody knew that if anyone was going to be in it, Jan Blake was going to be in it, or Janet Blake was going to be in it. But I wasn't your typical black girl. I wasn't your typical girl. I wasn't very typical. I was in a classroom. There was only me and one other black girl in the class. All the black girls were in the lower end of the school. We were in the top 2 classes at the top of the school. You know, sometimes you don't realise it when you're a kid, but you know you're quite shiny. I didn't realise it, but I think I was quite shiny. I get it now. Now I'm a big-ass grown woman. But as a kid, I didn't know I was shiny, so I could never understand why I would attract kind of low-level teachers would low-level bully me, girls would low-level bully me, and it was quite painful. So I think I went, because my dad always used to say, if anyone hits you at school, don't come back and tell me that someone's hit you, hit them back. I don't want to hear about it. If someone hits you, you hit them back. But I wasn't a fighter. When I became an adult, I didn't care then. I'd knock people out left, right and centre if I needed to. But as a kid, I was perplexed by cruelty. Doing theatre in school, like being in the school plays, was a way that I don't know, I could be myself. But as an adult, if it's not fun, I don't want to do it. And as a kid, I was exactly the same. As soon as it starts being fun, I'm out. And so I was one of the fastest runners in our school. I think at the age of 12, I ran 13.7 or something like that. I mean, I was fast. And as soon as the teachers witnessed that, they were like, right, we've got one. And then it was just like, I'm not doing that. I don't want to be on the school athletics team. And they were like, what? I don't want to be on the athletics team. I don't want to be on the hurdle. I don't want to do it. It's not fun. And it's not for me, it's for you. So I'm out. I left school with 6 O-levels, failed all my A-levels. And I just couldn't be arsed, Ben. You know, it just got to that point where I was just like, so I left school with a real sense of, I know I'm supposed to be performing, I don't know how I'm going to do it. Sometimes you just have to wait, you know, and then it becomes clear what you're supposed to do with your life. And I think because I waited and because I didn't try and force anything, even though my dad wanted me to be a secretary. I remember when he said to me, why can't you just be a secretary like everybody else? And I remember thinking, do you know me? I've not deviated from the fact of if it's not easy and it's not fun, I'm not doing it. I haven't deviated from that, but in terms of a trajectory, I never had one. But I'm happy to be where I am. Just wish I had more money.